Yo, what is good, my anime people? What is good, yo? I want to say sorry right now. I haven't played this game in a while, plus I've been playing too much Dragon Ball Kakarot, so if I mess up anything, that's my excuse. But with this week's episode of My Hero, um, I was actually kind of surprised that they threw in an extra little scene, like an ending scene for Dakun versus Overhaul, seeing how did Overhaul just become wow, an absolute carry? Apps what the heck? And like he pretty much just became a character that is useless now, right? Like they just practically knocked him out of the overall contention of being the top villains with Mr. Decade himself showing up and taking this chance of him being at his weakest to pretty much like certify himself in the position of number one villain. And I am pretty shocked how that turned out. Like, if you told me he was just gonna show up perfectly and bring some ridiculous heavy hitters with him, I probably wouldn't believe it. Like, not only did he get into the situation where he was using some of the lead villains on his side, which I think is the ultimate downfall and the main reason as to why he was capable of being found out like this, because if you really think about it, um, the main person who really, or the main people who really could have gave them all the information, or at least gave them some type of hope into the case of making a move, would have been the people that he sent in, knowing the situation at hand, knowing that he got apprehended, and as soon as it happened, them having a jump on it instead of, waiting for the social media, the cops to send out the information. They were right on top of it as it was happening. So super smart on him. But with this freakazoid right now getting this upper hand on Overhaul while he was out of it and handcuffed pretty much. So he did him pretty dirty. Uh, we can safely say this man Shigaraki is the dirtiest of the dirty. Um, so as I was saying with like this show in my previous reviews, the villains always seem to do something relatively like polar opposite of what the heroes do every time of like the end of the episode or just in general. Which I think is a good showcase. Like it's always a good way to kind of keep the show on its toes, I guess you can say, is because not only are the villains making their moves and being so evil and meticulous with it, they are going to show us that, everything that the heroes do can be used practically as a weakness against them. So if they just do that in general, they automatically are going to win some way, shape, or form if the heroes act accordingly. Like, for instance, the sand guy that I don't think we've ever seen in the anime up until this point, um, he had to do what he had to do in the moment, which he thought the most important thing was to focus on saving the people around him, which it is as a hero. But for the villains, it then put them in a position where they can set up so many different steps of the next part of their fight that he didn't even stand a chance. He thought he was blocking one attack after attacking, and come to find out it was another decoy just to get him having his back turned. So this sand guy wound up being a decent adversary to go against these guys, but because they were so organized, because they were so on point, it didn't really matter what Mr. Saiyan did. He was going to get popped regardless. But other than that, the whole thing that had me like kind of shocked this week with how things are going, and from what I can understand, um, just with the heroes and just with what is supposed to pop off, like what we just saw was kind of like the baby, like, hey, this is what is going on, but you're not even ready for what's coming. Like, pretty much, that's what it felt like. Like, here's what we're trying to get across to you guys: is no one's safe anymore. It feels like someone like Night Eye, who seemingly had a relationship with All Might and maybe was should have been safe because of it, ends up dying much quicker than a lot of these characters we've seen for quite some time. And it's weird to think that once this death happens, where does it, lead the people who were hurt or, moved the most by it? Where do those people sit after this is happening, and what do they gain? What do they learn? What do they do just because they have to look for some, like, for instance, the three people that he had underneath him, or at least, the two, they all had they all have to find someone else to like work under their apprenticeship or whatever the heck that is that Daikun pretty much signed up for with him. And just a little FYI, Jump Force, you definitely need to just update Daikun in this game. Like, if you're gonna drop a season 2, work on the awakenings for your characters, because some of your awakenings are so weak that you could just add an extra little hair or spark here and there, and you could have the newest form of Daikun in this game. Sure, without the girl, but just like Gon, you can have it so his life starts to burn out because you use all for one too much, or something along those lines. But seeing how the game's going to get a season 2 and not a number 2, they need to add some type of add-on to Daikun. This Daikun's going to be so trash for like seasons to come if they do more than 2, right? Like, that's too bad. But regardless, seeing everybody just absolutely losing it, and knowing that Night Eye is going to pretty much be gone before the day is up, or he's not even going to see tomorrow, it kind of puts into perspective how tragic it is for, you know, millennia and all that stuff. And then on the flip side of it all is Overhaul absolutely loses for someone who is, was branding his everything on taking quirks away, to then have your quirk practically taken away from you in a way that you could never use it again to help not only yourself, but to do things that you are capable of doing every single day and stuff like that, is pretty much a huge, like, mental shock to the system. So look forward to either that character being obsolete, or maybe him showing up and becoming much, much more crazier than anyone expects. But I don't know. We'll see how it all turns out. But with all that being said, everybody, definitely let me know what you're feeling on this. Did you like the new scene of Daikun finishing off like the touches of the last episode, with him straight up throwing him back down into the hole where they came out from, to make sure there's less collateral damage, just to further the point that not only was this feat by Daikun ridiculous, but he was in 110% control of the situation, to the point where he made sure others in the surrounding area were safe. So, all that being said, everybody, I hope you have an amazing day, night, evening, whatever the case may be. I am your boy, the Anime G, and I will definitely be talking to you much sooner than later with a whole bunch of videos that come out on this Saturday. So I look forward to hearing from you guys, and peace. Oh, let's see if Daikun trends again, or at least my hero. Good luck, Twitter.